I'm coming. I've been calling for the fight. I've been asking for the fight. For whatever reason, it didn't happen, but he took the bait, and now July 29th, we got the fight, and I'm gonna get him to the bank.
Undefeated, undisputed, unprecedented. When you're talking about the welterweight division, there's only two men you're talking about.
This is the one fight more than any other fight I want to see in boxing.
And those two men are putting their records and titles on the line and finally going to war.
I understand that you can fight this guy over here that has no chance of beating you for 10 million. But go on and fight them big dogs for 20 million.
We're talking about making history.
This is it. We're gonna settle it now.
Because the winner of this fight is going to be coming home with not one, not two, but 4 belts as the unified welterweight champion.
Try that body shot, man. I'm gonna stop you. That shit gonna be easy work, I promise you. It don't matter, I'm gonna knock you out, bro.
It's been a long, long time coming.
Like that. I'm gonna have to take that.
And this clash is one I couldn't miss. This fight's gonna be a true clash of styles as Errol Spence Jr. comes to blow with Terence Crawford in order to prove who is the best welterweight of the decade.
Neither one of them fighting anybody else will tell us more about what's going to happen when they fight each other.
There's nothing better to look forward to than a fight between two undefeated champs. Who's gonna come home a champion and icon for their era? This July in Paradise, Nevada, we're gonna find out.
I feel like I'm gonna break him. He said he gonna reel me in and bring me to the bank. So we're definitely gonna see. I don't think he can reel me in. I don't think nobody got a big enough fishing pole to reel me in.
Errol Spence Jr. has been dominating the welterweight division since he started his pro career.
Yeah, but Stephen A. It's about how Errol Spence is not afraid to stand in that paint. He's going to stand toe to toe and stand with you in the trenches.
He's an aggressive and effective pressure fighter. His by-the-book mentality and incredible volume of punches proved to be too much for his opponents to handle.
I think the experience that Errol had in the ring against me made him better. And then, of course, the experiences that he's had out of the ring has made him better as well.
Most of his fights, Spence is the bigger guy. With a size difference over his opponents, he's able to bully them with force, not just skill. He's tight and efficient. His picture-perfect offense works to also shut down any punches from the opponent. His first bout was in 2012 where he earned his first victory and his first knockout. Since then, he's been on a tear. By 2015, he was ESPN's Prospect of the Year. By 2016, he was the first person to stop Chris Algieri. By 2017, he had earned his title shots. The time came for Spence to fight reigning IBF welterweight champion Kell Brook on May 17th of 2017. The fight was a slugfest. Spence and Brook were putting everything on the line to wear each other down. In the 11th round, Brook could no longer see out of his left eye. He took a knee and didn't get back up.
New IBF welterweight champion of the world.
Definitely, this is a legacy-defining fight. That's what two champions do. He came to America and took the title, so I came over here to take the title from him. But he's a true champion. I wanted to fight the champion, and Kell Brook gave me the opportunity, and I thank him for that.
After a string of successful title defenses, and especially brutal mauling of Mikey Garcia,
yeah, what the fuck he's doing fighting Errol Spence, bro?
Spence set his sights on a new belt and a new champion. Porter was a pressure fighter too, but instead of technical skill, he relied on his strength and stamina to do the heavy lifting.
He knows, I'm not gonna talk about you like you're not right here. You know this is not easier than Mikey Garcia. You know this ain't gonna be no wash. You know you're gonna have to get ready, and I will be
Spence
ready.
and Porter duked it out in a high aggression match where the two fought each other relentlessly. It was hard to see who had the advantage as both Spence and Porter seemed to switch who had the upper hand minute to minute. In the 11th round, Spence scored the only knockdown of the fight when Porter's glove touched the canvas. After a blistering 12th round, Spence had nearly won his unification title.
I was able to, break him down and outwill the so-called toughest guy in the division.
Things weren't up and up for Spence.
I'm looking to come back real soon, early 2020, hopefully in January or February.
Until just a month later.
A violent crash overnight as a Ferrari flipped on a Dallas street. In that car,
Spence was ejected from his car during a drunk driving incident and sustained a number of injuries. He ended up in the intensive care unit after the crash.
That's the craziest story of the year. When you see that car flip like that and the fact that he got out of that with like a chipped tooth.
I don't remember the night of the crash or 3 weeks
For a while, it was in doubt if Spence was ever going to be in winning condition ever again.
I believe it's a miracle for me to survive, and a year later, you know, have a fight coming up and we're fighting in my hometown. You know, I feel like this is a second chance for me, and you know, I can't let it go.
Errol Spence Jr. miraculously managed to recover from his car crash without any serious injuries. He had his first fight since his car crash to see if he was still able to perform. Not only did he show he can still do it, he battered Danny Garcia with complete control. But right after, Spence had another scare, one that has ended the career of hundreds of boxers before him, a retinal tear. Just like his health scare, Spence seemed to bounce it off with no problem, but the surgery cost him a fight against someone he'd been looking forward to meeting for a long time, Manny Pacquiao. With his eye being medically cleared, Spence set his sight on his third belt, this time against
Still champion Yordanis
Ugas was coming off a major win against 8th Division living legend Manny Pacquiao, the same fight that Spence was clamoring for until his eye injury bowed him out. Speaking of eye injury, Spence was able to get the fight stopped on account of Ugas' eyes swelling up like a balloon. He put on another dominant performance to show that any medical issues he might have had weren't going to hold him back. Spence had his third belt. However, this challenge would be his hardest yet. While Spence was recovering from his injuries from his car crash, another fighter was on a dominant reign at welterweight. Terence Crawford started his welterweight career by becoming a 3-division world champion. Not bad for a career starter.
Terence Crawford just figures people out. He finds a way.
Though this shouldn't be a surprise after all. His last fight before moving up in weight was his unification of all 4 light welterweight titles in 2017. What makes Terence Crawford dangerous is his stellar movement and incredible knockout power. He's considered pound for pound the best for a reason, especially at welterweight. He is a monster.
The way he approached that shit, he don't see none of them guys. He don't care nothing about none of them guys. He got that real dog in him. That's why I say he reminds me of me. You feel me? And I just think the man can do so much in
Crawford has not seen a decision in his fight since his win over Victor Postal in 2016. Every other fight since, Crawford has put them down or made them quit. His power is mixed in with his clever movement and fight IQ. He had already shown he was a monster at the lighter weight classes. With his first victory at welterweight, he was ready to show that he was a monster in this one too. Since Crawford moved up to 147, the question on everyone's mind was when he and Spence would meet.
Him and Crawford. God, what a fight that would be.
What the hell took this fight so long to happen? We've been waiting years for this.
Great things take time. I mean, we both were going through, you know, negotiations and things, but we here now. So all this stuff in the past, just the present, we here, we fighting each other. This is the fight of the decade.
It seemed inevitable that the 2 best welterweights would be meeting up for a final unification match. The fans have been begging for it, and most importantly, the 2 fighters finally realized it was time to make it happen.
It's the fight I wanted, so I stuck to my guns and was like, I'm not fighting until I fight Terence Crawford, so my team got it going.
So now, you know, he got to live up to his word and coming to take this belt. You know, the last one is always the hardest one, and I assure you, it won't be like none of the other fights.
The fight took longer than it should have to get made, but in the end, when Crawford picked up the phone and got Spence on the other hand, they got it made.
Training been going great. I'm ready to fight, ready to put on a great show, a one-sided ass beat.
This matchup is going to be a night to remember when 2 greats are putting everything they have in the ring.
We gonna catch him. Well, matter of fact, we already caught him. We just reeling him in right now. And July 29th, that's when we're gonna get him to the bank.
When the 2 finally clash on July 29th, it'll be a fight about who can employ their game plan for the longest.
All we do
Hey,
is
man.
fish fillet.
We gonna roll him up and smoke him, man.
We go hunting over here, and best
like I
believe
said,
we hunting you
we
down.
gonna roll him up.